Hey, what up, folks? Welcome to the Film Focus page again. It's me, Mr. P, and I'm here to give you my newest review of Geostorm, which has been written and directed by Dean Devlin. And it stars Gerard Butler, Abby Cornish, Jim Sturgis, Ed Harris, and Andy Garcia. Now, this is the directorial debut of Dean Devlin. And Dean Devlin, if you don't know, he has written and produced some of the biggest and most cult iconic films of the mid to late 90s. He's responsible for writing, Stargate. He did Universal Soldier. He wrote and produced Independence Day along with Roland Emmerich. He wrote and produced The Patriot. He did Independence Day Resurgence. And now he steps into the director's chair to do Geostorm. Now in Geostorm, we see Gerard Butler, who plays a scientist who has invented this satellite to prevent natural disasters from occurring all across the world, storms, etc. And then he discovers that his satellite is actually malfunctioning and it's actually causing storms to happen all across the world. So he has to go into space to discover what is actually wrong with the satellite, and it's there that he discovers that these instances are being done deliberately, and he has to investigate why. Now, for me, when I saw this film, the trailers look good, but then again, in my experience, sometimes the trailers can be actually better than the film, and that is certainly the case with this film. I found this film to be a total mess from start to finish. It didn't know what it wanted to be. It didn't know whether it wanted to be a conspiracy film, a natural disaster film. It didn't know whether it wanted to have a social message regarding, global warming, etc. It just didn't know what direction it wanted to go in. And for me, I felt that the film was just poorly written, and it was also very badly directed. And for me, Dean Devlin, credit where credit is due, he wrote and produced Independence Day. But Independence Day had a very sensible plot. This film doesn't have a sensible plot. And this film is so predictable, where there's things that you can see coming a mile off. With regards to there's actually an insider who's responsible for doing these things, and halfway through the film, or should I say the third actor in the film, you can see exactly who the person is and why they're doing it, and even why they're doing it is actually silly. But this film, I think what it has going for it is really, really good special effects. But at the end of the day, special effects cannot cover up what is a weak plot for this film. The special effects that worked well in films like Independence Day Resurgence, which was a dire mess, 2012, it worked here, but it just wasn't a good film. The dialogue was very corny. Gerard Butler as a performer, he's pretty much playing the same Gerard Butler in every film. I didn't see any difference between him acting in this and the way he was in, Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen. And I was also surprised that, such venerated, powerful actors like Ed Harris and Andy Garcia even participated in this film. Because, they really shouldn't have, because this film was an absolute bomb. I found this film to be very, very dull, uninspiring. There was only one comedic moment that I could actually think of that was in this film. And that was where Andy Garcia, who plays the president, he's in the car with Jim Sturgis and Abby Cornish, and they're being chased by some Secret Service agents. And through the speed of her driving, she evades all of these obstacles, etc. And then Andy Garcia drops his line and says, "You know what? Marry this woman." And that's it. There were other attempts at humor in this film, but they failed terribly. And this film feels like a rehash of other films that Dean Devlin has been involved in. Like Godzilla, there's all the car chases they're being chased in a taxi. And you've seen the same car chase being done time and time again, be it in Godzilla, be it in 2012, be it Independence Day. It just didn't work, it was just so unoriginal. And there was parts where I thought, I've seen this done in, Independence Day Resurgence. Even in the final act of the film, I felt like I was watching a rerun of Armageddon. That's how bad this film was. And for me, I can only justify myself in watching it purely because A, I wanted to review the film so I can tell my viewers what I felt about it. And number two, it helped plug the gap between this and when Thor Ragnarok comes out. So for me, was this a good film? No. I'll give this film a 4 out of 10. And that's just based on the visual effects. Plot, acting, storyline, terrible. 4 out of 10. Is it one to watch? No. Is it one for your DVD collection? Hell no. Dean Devlin has been involved in other good films as well. If you like Independence Day, watch that. If you like 2012, watch that. But this film, predictable and very, very silly. So I'll tell you, this is one to actually avoid. So that's my review of Geostorm. Tell me what you think about it. Feel free to follow me on this YouTube channel. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. What's your favourite Dean Devlin, Roland Emmerich film? Feel free to leave your comments below, and I shall see you on the next film review. Stay blessed. Peace.